Welcome back to Good Day. Gangsters bootlegging women of the night. Nope, we're not talking about New York City, Las Vegas, or other major metropolitan area. We're talking about T-Town, the Glass City, and the notorious places they hung out and did their dirty business. You can see those spots up close and personal on the Toledo Gangster Bus Tour. Donna Christian Rehfeldt joins us from the Toledo History Museum. Good morning. Thanks for being here today.
It's good to be here.
Well, thanks. So this sounds kind of naughty, if I'm going to go there, but also really interesting as well. So you've got this bus tour. The next one coming up is what, September
9th.
9th. Okay, so next Saturday. Yeah. What are people going to experience on this tour?
Well, when we get on, we will tour a couple of places downtown. And we'll be talking about prohibition, we'll be talking about prostitution, we'll be talking about gambling. And of course, with prohibition, you had more of a rise of the gangsters, at least in this area. We were fortunate in the sense that we really didn't have much in the way of the gangsters until 1930 when the Licovolis came in. But you did have the speakeasies in the 20s. You have some very interesting places and interesting things that happened
Well,
here.
it was an interesting time, you know, during Prohibition. The speakeasies is kind of fun to hear about how they, you know, went about still consuming and having a good time. But this tour, how did it come about? What is your background in this particular part of history?
Well, actually, years ago, before COVID, so many things were before COVID, we did have what was called the Unholy Toledo bus tours. And Ted Long had put those tours together. He has since put that available online where you can self-drive that tour. And so it didn't make sense for us to try to raise money for the museum using a tour that people could get online. So we, in a sense, wrote a new script. There are things that are the same with the old Unholy Toledo tours, but there's things that are different, things that are in our tour, which is called the Glass City, Garters, Gambling, Gangsters, and Gin. And there are things that are in the Unholy Toledo that are not in our tour. And even between two tours, you're still just scratching the surface of what happened during the early 20th century here, at least in the underworld.
In the underworld. What, you know, people who have expressed interest in this, or maybe they've done the Unholy Tour in the past, or they going to sign up for this one, you know, what is so engaging and just so interesting about this?
I think people have an interest really in crime. Popular books, crime books are popular, especially true crime. TV shows dealing with true crime or just simply crime-oriented. We start with, like I'd say, Gunsmoke. And so you have the Western stories that focused on crime. You've got stories up to the present, where it's set with law enforcement versus crime, and people are fascinated.
Yeah, they are. It's like this natural thing, you know. We just gravitate toward knowing about about maybe the bad stuff, or you know, the stuff that we're not supposed to maybe know about, or whatever. So it's just all very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know, it's a way of hearing about it, and yet it's safe because you're not necessarily in danger yourself. But the period, especially after Licovolis came into town, it was a dangerous time here. So Licovoli did not hesitate to use firebombing or murder to get what he wanted.
So we're going to learn a lot about this on this tour. How long is the tour? How long does it take to get through?
2 hours.
2 hours, okay. Yeah. So you're going to learn a lot in that time. And you mentioned fundraising for the museum. So talk a little bit about how this will help in the mission of the Toledo History Museum and what you're doing there.
Okay. The museum is very small. We started out organizing in 2006. We had our first location in the Melmine Stewart House at the corner of Collingwood and Woodruff, we opened in 2011. 2018, we moved to space in the Valentine Building. Now, there's so much Toledo history that we can't show because at this point we have about 1,200 square feet. And we need a bigger space. But we need to grow the museum larger in order to come up with that kind of space.
Sure.
Because Toledo history is fascinating. And actually, I really prefer to use the term stories instead of history. Because I'll say to people, do you like history? And they go, no. Do you like stories? Oh, yes.
Yeah, now you're speaking my language, right?
Yeah. And that really is what history is. It's stories. That's what the bus tour does. It's telling stories of what happened here.
And people, you know, connecting with real humans. So people want to get on this tour. How do they go about getting tickets?
If you go to the website, ToledoHistoryMuseum.org, there is a place on the front page that you click for more information, a form you fill out to reserve the tickets, and then you can pay either with PayPal or by mailing a check in.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to do the September tour, I would suggest doing PayPal so that we have the money and you definitely get your ticket ahead of time.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out, and then you're going to be doing tours once a month through the end of the year, right?
Through the end of the year. We're planning on continuing next year, but we just haven't set the dates yet.
Well, get started, get on the website now, get your tickets. Donna, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.